Greetings, fellow Earthlings. I hope your day is good. I hope your heart is full. Passion and peace, feeling it all. There's a lot to feel. Sometimes too much to feel, and we have to deal with that and keep that under control. We can only do so much. We're just one human being surrounded by almost 8.5 billion. But we can do that, and we can help each other. I want most of my stuff to be affirmations. I write I write songs, and I like writing songs in the morning usually. And yeah, I'll write a song in the morning almost every day. But I have this work that I've done over a period of time, so I have a lot of lyrics. My music is simple, but I try to have some of the best lyrics because I put so much time into them. I want it. I want to tell you a story that's well crafted because I want to hear a story that's well crafted. I'm creating it partly for me, and I'm telling me these things, telling me to be a better person, and telling me that we need to fight against corruption. So, whatever you need to do to make yourself fulfilled, do that. Do that. You deserve it. We're not here for long. And I wish our society was more supportive instead of being greedy and acquisitive and competitive. We don't really support. We can do that. We can create a better society. But we have failed to do that. We have failed to do that. Mike Johnson, who is the head of the House of Representatives, the Republican head of the Representatives, calls tomorrow's No Kings rallies across the United States Hate America rallies. Hate America. Wow. If millions of people come together, he's just saying you guys are hateful. He sounds hateful. Won't release the Epstein files. That sounds hateful. What have they done so far? They cut taxes on the rich. This is what happened the first time Trump was elected too. Really big tax cuts for the rich that may involve having to cut programs for the poor and the middle class, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, Jesus Christ, food, because tax cuts for the rich. The opposite of Jesus. When the man said, Jesus, our taxes are too high, he said, hey, pay your taxes. Render unto Caesar, pay the government what you owe the government, and pay God what you owe God. Yeah, this is the opposite of that. And it's creating a concentration of wealth and power that we've never seen before. Bernie Sanders is good about teaching us how few people control things and how few corporations and hedge funds and private equity firms, multi-billionaires control the media and how you get your energy and all these decisions being made in a democracy, but the democracy moving further and further into an oligarchy, dictatorship by billionaires. So we have to stand up for that, stand up to that, and stand up for what we believe in. Probably more humanity, equality, taking care of the earth, democracy, everybody gets a right to vote, probably everybody needs health care, a decent place to live. And I think that's a part of what's happening on Saturday. And it's not just in America, lots of places in the world. The working people are saying, man, my life is getting worse and worse. My quality of life is going down. Why is this? Well, it's because the working people haven't been very good at citizenship, haven't been voting, for helping everybody. Also, I could say self-interest, but I don't like that word. We have to be bigger than that. We have to think of the interests of the community and the planet. So the sacred interest. and we're a part of that. And you deserve a decent life. You deserve a higher quality of life than many of you have. You deserve a place to live that's not a little tiny box, and that's in a safe neighborhood with some green space and access to public transit and a library or a park. You deserve that. What is this 40-hour work week? It's something people died for about 125 years ago in the streets, so they didn't want to have to work 60 or 70 hours a week, down to 40. Well, what's 40? That's no magic number. Maybe 30 is better. Because, of course, the 40 doesn't take into account what it takes to get to the work and to get home, the transit involved. But something even bigger than that we haven't been thinking about clear enough, maybe we're not going to have that many jobs. We can talk about people getting older, but with, what is it, automation and new technology and robotics and AI, who is it, Nestle, the biggest food firm in the world, cutting 6,000 jobs? Anyway, this idea of automation, and that's what they said was automation. And a lot of their jobs are going to be white collar. I still don't know why the white collar gets 100,000 a year and the workers get 40 or 50, about half. I mean, what is that? I remember telling one guy when I was teaching that I got 50,000 a year, and he didn't have much money, and he was like, "Wow, that's a lot." But then I told another guy who had a lot more money, and he kind of shook his head like, "Wow, that's too bad. 50 grand, that's too bad." So, what do we mean to each other? This really hyper-capitalist, corrupted system that rewards money with more money. And all these people together taking care of each other. You can see all the corruption happening now. And once the corruption is gone and we start turning back toward a more decent and noble and moral society, we're not going to forget what some of these people did trying to get ahead and stepping on other people. I don't want to have anger. I don't want to have hate. And I don't want to have greed, probably the worst thing in this world. I want to have a light of humanity and care for everybody. I'm 66. I'll be gone soon enough. I should have my shit together by now. Try to understand why I'm here, why you're here. It's not to grab as much as we can and not give a shit about these people or the earth. We have to be better than that. We are better than that. But we're led down this path. The media, almost all the media owned by these billionaires, as who was I talking? Bernie Sanders said, you can only talk about this much. He said, they don't ask me about inequality of wealth. You're not allowed to talk about that. They don't ask me about, certain things, national health care. He's a senator that's been around for a while, and he knows what's appropriate or allowed on the media owned by the billionaires. Fox is a billionaire from Australia, right? Is he going to have the working class? Is that what he's going to hold dear? Fight for the working class? But it's not just him. It's all over the place. And we need to be smarter to understand that and talk about that. And thank goodness for the internet. At least there's some channels that are still open and available for people, regular people, to talk to each other and tell the truth. Because a lot of these places, some just outright lie. Other places, they don't lie, they just don't tell the truth. They'll tell the truth about bullshit. Celebrities, fashion, sports, but nothing real like, hey man, my life isn't very good and my kids' life is even worse. They can't get a decent job. I can't get a job that'll help me buy a house. One thing we need to look into is apartment living. In a lot of Europe, you can buy your apartment. It's an apartment owned by the people, and there's some in the United States. It's just not as typical. Um, and also, one thing I like about, I was just in London, and now I'm in France, and a lot of the buildings are about 4 stories tall, 4 or 5. They're not overwhelming. You know, like the projects in New York and these other cities that they make 50 stories tall. I mean, could you imagine having to get into the elevator and riding up 45 floors to get home, 45 down to leave, 45 if you forgot something in your car? One reason I am here is I don't want a car, and they have good, much better public transit in Europe. Why don't we have public transit in America? We've been taught to be individuals, kind of greedy, selfish, me, me, me. Well, the bus system and the train system and light rail, that's we, the community. We need to move toward that, taking care of each other, our brothers, our sisters. We are one. I'm going to stop and then start again, just so I don't bore you to death. I don't want to do that.